What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Mosen here and coming at you with a video about the loot trading in classic World of Warcraft, and this is like one of the topics. I'm very diplomatic on all the other topics, but here I want to just put this video out as a separate one so people can watch it and tell me what they think. And also this is especially more directed to people to know about the topic and what problems can occur with this. This is probably the third video today, but I just thought it might be important to get this out. Whether or not it's gonna make it in the game, we don't know yet, but I strongly feel that it should not make it into the game, and here's why. So enjoy the video. It's a little bit of a rant video, but let me know what you think, and maybe you can go to the thread and tell them your concerns in that thread. I'm sure there's a thread on the EU forums as well. I hope you enjoy, and let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Nawak versus the world, and it's very much so, I think. But this guy really deserves a medal. And first, remember in the last one, I think, last video I said, loot trading, I can see this because in a raid situation, I was the raid leader and I don't want to assign loot again, because that happens. At some point it will happen. And that way we can trade it over, right? Makes sense. They sold it good at BlizzCon. And now this guy comes in, and the first thing I said though was, yeah, but can't you abuse that? Like in 5-man dungeons, you can just trade it over to your friends. And I was like, okay, well, but maybe there you're rolling, so you can't really. But they want to have it in rolling system, I think, as well. Maybe, we don't know, but... So I thought, but I said, okay, well, maybe that's just not that big of a deal, right? And now this guy comes in and he says... Eden has announced yesterday that loot trading, the 2-hour window to trade Bob, bind on pickup loot to another eligible person, is going to be in Classic. This is an unacceptable change to the social dynamics of groups and guilds alike. He stated the reason for this change is to reduce the number of tickets Blizzard receives about mislooted items. I understand the importance of this from Blizzard's perspective. Fewer tickets means shorter wait times and possibly fewer support staff required by Blizzard. However, in his presentation, he failed to address the unintended uses of loot trading. Personally, I have used the loot trading system hundreds, if not thousands of times. Since it was introduced, nearly 0 of those times were used for Ian's intended purpose of correcting a looting mistake. And this is the point, right? This is not going to be used for the intended use, basically. And if you think about it for 2 minutes, the first thing people do is they see, how can I abuse this system? How can I fuck over others? That's the first thing human beings are doing. Be honest. I'm honest, right? I could run with a friend in a 5-man. Please, hey, priest friend, just roll on that Baron cloak, that rogue cloak for me, okay? I really need it. I don't want to run it in here for the 57th time. Ah, he won it. Oh, sorry, I misclicked, man. And then my priest friend trades it over to me. I have double the chance to win an item. Anyway, over 99% of the time the feature is used. It is used for an unintended purpose. What are some of the uses? Selling items, getting your friends to roll for you, right? Ninja looting while obscuring who the ninja is, basically. Master looters holding loot hostage. So, he goes on to say, what are some of these uses? Number 1, selling items. Maybe I rolled on the item simply because I knew I could sell it to someone else in the raid within the next 2 hours. And this is a big one, right? So, first of all, rolling in the raid, okay, it's not really a thing, but I gotta say, we have a system, for example, where you post the item you would replace, so we can, as a loot council, we say, okay, this guy and this guy and this guy can roll, there's a huge upgrade for the raid, they've been with us for a long time, blah blah blah, a couple of factors going in, so you 3 can roll. Maybe he just goes in and say, and he's gonna try if he can roll. Then he can roll, and he gets it, so we would have to check if he equips it, basically. You know what I'm saying? We would have to always go and check if somebody equips it. Now you can say, okay, in the guild you should trust each other, which is true, and if we find out that somebody's selling loot, he would be out very quickly. But maybe you don't get to know that before he already did it 5 times. This is the whole point. So, you know, selling items, and if this is happening in 5-man dungeons, oh man, people will just roll on stuff, need it on stuff, and then they'll win it. And you know, if you've grinded 5-man dungeons for 50 times, and then the item drops and some idiot takes it because he wants to fuck you over and sell it, you know, you're gonna maybe say, you're gonna be maybe a little bit quicker to say, well, he's gonna say, well, I have it now, you know, you can buy it for 100 gold. Give me 100 gold, you get the item you want. And you know, probably people are gonna say, you know, man, this idiot, but you know, I've been in here 15 times, 15,000 times even, and I'm done with this, you know. And yeah, maybe, you know what I mean, right? And this is just a bad thing, I think. This is just a very bad thing. I can't even say. I think you get the point, really. I was trying to say something else to make the point clearer, but this is already a stupid point. He goes on to say, maybe I want to quit my guild, but first want to cash in my remaining DKP and or goodwill. So I get items I don't really want and turn around and sell them to other attending players. That's what I said, basically. So this, just the selling items point, is a huge thing, okay? Then he goes on to say, getting your friends to roll for you. He says, say I attend a pug on my main and bring my friend on his ult. His ult is poorly geared, so when an important item drops, which is a small upgrade for me but a large upgrade for him, he begs the group to give it to him, and they do. Then he just gives it to me under the table. This can also happen with BOE tier 1 items, or you know, tier 1 BOE, bind on equip items, drop in MC, and you say, well, guys, I'm so badly equipped, can I just have it? And people just say, no one will want this. You can sell it for 50 gold on the auction house, but no one will say, come on, let's give it to that guy, man. He's got like green bracers. Fuck it, let's give it to him. And he just trades it over, right? And they split the gold. And of course, you can never know that anyway, but still, you know, you can still trade it. Those are BOE, right? And he's talking about BOP items. So, yeah. No, and then he trades it over, and the other guy, no one will even notice that this other guy will do it. Of course, people will report if somebody's selling it, but if he's doing it a little bit smart, he'll tell, hey, you can buy this for so and so much gold, and people will not want other people to know about this because they might want to buy it, and so they're going to be quiet about it too. A lot of things can go wrong here and at this point. You can already tell, you can already see now, right? I hope that there's a lot of things that can go wrong at this stage alone. Okay, this is if he brings a shitty geared ult in a pug, which is unlikely because usually they don't bring shit geared ults, but sometimes they do. And this is just one scenario, right? He goes on to say though, or maybe his ult isn't undergeared, and this is more likely when people go with their mains because they're not raiding the content anymore. Or the group's not falling for it. In that case, we both roll need and I end up having 2 times the chance of winning the item. This happens a lot. This is overwhelmingly the most common usage of the system. And here's the thing. This can happen in raid environments too. Again, many guilds don't have like a loot council system. Many guilds do that DKP. Even in a DKP system, you just have 1 or 2 friends you know, right? And they say, I'm just gonna put my DKP on it too, and then at some point you will have, you'll have 3 people that all take their DKP. They're gonna receive the item, but they all want to funnel it onto that one guy, right? Even loot masters, even officers and councils could be affected by this. They're just gonna say, hey, you know what? In the officer channel, caster leader, warlock leader, Shadow Priest leader and Mage leader, you 3 all roll on that item too, so that other guy doesn't get it. And in case he gets it, like if you guys get it, you can trade it to the guy we want to have it traded to. Just think about that for a minute, okay? And sure, Loot Council can always say, we're just gonna give it to that one guy, but still, there's more room for... This is just the things that can happen from the top of my head. What's gonna happen later when people really think about it, how they can abuse this shit. People are creative, okay? People are clever. They'll think of something good. So this is the second one. The most used thing about the system is bringing people into your raid, rolling for you, right? And you triple your chance. Puck, MC Puck, you have 4 friends in there? No problem. You have 4 times the chance to win that, you know, crazy thing from Ragnaros that you wanted. No problem, right? There's absolutely no problem with this. Ninja looting while obscuring who the ninja is, and this is also a big one, I feel like. This is one of the sneaky things that people can come up with later. I'm glad he's sharing it, right? The day ICC came out, I ran it with my warrior and mage friends. My warrior friend was trying for gladiator and wanted the Bryn troll, a good 2-hand axe from the first boss it dropped. My mage friend was a casual player whose subscription was about to expire. The mage rolled neat, won the 2-hand axe, got called a ninja, and was kicked from the group. Don't forget about this. It doesn't always have to be the person. You can say, well, if people do and behave that way, they're gonna get kicked. Maybe they have some other people in there that don't care that they get kicked. There's a lot of them on alts. Was kicked from the group, but he traded the axe to my warrior friend. The mage was known as a ninja in the Puck community on our server after that, but the guy who really got the item kept his reputation clean via this absurd loot system. Right. This is one of the things that you can do. You have like your third alt, make it a rogue, name it Ninja Pants, and or name it, you know, even worse, name it after some player that you know and don't like. The possibilities are endless for this. Name it after somebody you don't like and you obscure it even more, right? It's terrible. And then you go into, you use this alt only to go into pugs and just with your friends and just roll neat and say, oh, I don't give a shit if I'm a ninja now, right? And then you leave the group, get kicked, and then you trade it afterwards. No problem. There's no problem in doing this. Absolutely legit. You're gonna contact the GM about this? No, it's legit. Okay, this system. No, and it's funny now that I think about it that they said this is supposed to prevent ninja looting, accidentally clicking it, as if a misloot, you still have to contact the GM and they can reassign it. Or you're just fucked. Okay, you know, I'd rather say, okay, that one time where this happens, you accidentally give an item to somebody else. I'd rather take this than all of this other shit, really. Because think about it, this is gonna happen one time, the misassignment. This can happen. Okay, fuck it. But all of this is gonna be legit and it's gonna promote ninja looting because you can't do anything about it. People are gonna ninja loot and they're gonna tell you it's legit because I can roll on whatever the hell I want. It's legit, it's on the system. I have a roll button, I can need it. Blizzard's not gonna tell a priest he can't roll on the agility cloak. They can't roll, they're in the group, they have the right to roll on it. And then you can trade it over. It's legit. This is the system people want. It seems like at this point, not everybody, a lot of people are against it, but there's people defending this still. Just get this. People defend this system. Anyhow, that is the third argument against it. Master looters holding loot hostage. He's another one, and I personally was a raid lead, so this is not really concerning me. It has a good idea though, because there's some good stuff in there. Maybe I'll take advantage of this, right? And for anybody that's just a raider, this is probably also a very important part. Annoying as fuck when a raid leader decides to hang on to all the loot in the raid for 1 hour 50 minutes. Remember, they can take all the loot, keep it in their bags, and run around with it and keep the raid going, which is theoretically good for us as a guild, because once we kill the boss, one guy can just take the loot for now. We can move on to the next boss, don't waste time on the loot, and here we can do it on the run, and then when somebody won, we figured it out, they're just gonna trade it, and boom, they got the item, done. For us as a guild where we trust people, right? And only hand it out at the end of the end just because the system allows him to. Even more annoying when he claims he's going to hand the loot out at the end and just keeps it all. Right? And then he trades it to his friends. Of course, he's only going to do that once. It's just like ninja looting. You're not going to run with that idiot again. But again, you can fuck around in the background with handing it over to other people, right? And people can roll and stuff and sell it. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. I'm certain there are more terrible uses of the loot trading system, which I can't remember right now. It is a commonly used system which is almost never used for its intended purpose. Please reconsider using the system. It creates vast social disruption regarding loot and provides multiple incentives for scummy behavior which otherwise would not exist. And that's the whole point, I think. I think this is the whole point, right? It's, you first think, okay, this is a good thing because you can reassign the loot that you misassigned. It's never used for that. It's like maybe 1%. No, we don't want to pull the 1% argument, but it's maybe used. I misassigned loot 2 times in like 4 years, I think, maybe 3, 2 or 3 times in 4 years. You know, and we could contact a GM. They would trade it over. Sometimes they wouldn't, right? On some servers they wouldn't. On some servers they would. And Blizzard usually does, if you contact them. It might take 4 days, sure, right? It's a struggle, I know. But I'd rather take that than all of this exploiting. And people will do this, don't get me wrong. And even the classic, it's even more so, because you can't just say, okay, I'm just gonna queue for the next dungeon finder, right? Items are worth something. People will go and fuck other people over about this. Trust me. Anyway, this is my thoughts on the loot trading and why it is unacceptable. This guy really made a good post. We have to thank him for this. Now here comes the people do content with your guild and none of this matters, which is not true. And you know, I would usually agree with this, but you are not always going to do only content ever with your guild. I've been a guy that always usually tried to do stuff with your guild because I don't like pugging. But then again, sometimes you just feel like, hey, let's you and me want to go run Stratholme, let's find 2 other people and go. Problems start there, okay? Problems will start there. And don't act like you're doing 100% of the stuff with your guild. You're doing, I did 95% of the stuff with my guild, and there was still a lot of things. And it's very impractical advice, I gotta really say. And not everybody is the type of person that wants to play in the guild only. Of course, you're playing a better game if you're doing it with a guild, but you can't always do this, right? And all practical things aside, this was not in vanilla, it was in Wrath of the Lich King. That is the biggest figure, right? And then all of these other big points come to counter this out. So I don't really understand why they would put this in and then come around the corner with sharding as well. It's a little bit too much. Like, they want to keep pressure away from the technical side of things, and they want to keep pressure away from the customer service. That's the whole point. And yeah, there's a lot of people in here, whatever the hell they're saying. You know, whatever. Make your own opinion about this. Let me know what you think. Again, if you have a different opinion, it's absolutely fine. I'm just saying there's a lot of points against this and very few for it, really. And do stuff with your guild is just, yes, of course that helps, but you know, it's of course do stuff with your guild, but in Classic you're not gonna do every single thing with only guildies, trust me. And if you're that one person, or you have like that one guild where you have 10 people that do that, fine. But there's other people that want to enjoy a strat home run and you know, don't want to get fucked over anytime they pug. And yeah, but whatever. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comments below, and we should very much try to not have this in Classic, because again, even if it doesn't seem like that, I'm actually quite relaxed. If it's gonna be in the system like this, we're gonna have workarounds and we'll adapt to the situation, don't get me wrong. I've done everything, it's okay, I don't care, but I'd rather not have it in, and I'm probably not alone in this stance, and it's just not in vanilla. Let's just keep it out. And it's there's a lot of I mean, this is really a topic where you can't say there's few points that speak against this. There's a lot of them. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think, and stay civilized in the forums. Thank you very much.